Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Haisnam Keni Devi. I'm a research scholar at the Department of Humanities and Basic Sciences, IIIT Manipur. And on the behalf of my co-author, I will be presenting the paper entitled Valency in Meeteilon, a Tibeto-Burman language. These are the topics which I'm going to discuss in my papers. So let's begin with from the introduction section. So Meeteilon or simply Manipuri, since it is recognized as Meeteilon in the Gazette, so I'm using Meeteilon. And this language is a very highly agglutinating Tibeto-Burman language as well as scheduled language of India, and it is mainly spoken in the state of Manipur, where its verbal root could have suffixes ranging from 1 to 10, and it has base-driven morphology instead of affix-driven morphology. For example, we have these two negative suffixes in Meeteilon. One is te and de. This te suffix is used when the verb roots are ended with voiceless plosive sounds, such as the word thakte. Thak is the verb root and te is the negative marker. Since it is the verb root is ended with plosive sound ka, te follows. Otherwise, de is used. So the role of suffix is very prominent in the language in the sense that it is very numerous, and it is also responsible for the balance changing operations. And as compared to prefixes, the number of suffixes is very numerous in our language. So the classification of suffixes and their constraints on selection has been a topic of research for many years. For the case of English, the English suffixes are explained based on level ordering hypothesis. Level ordering hypothesis, it suggests that suffixes belong to different lexical strata, and these strata interact phonologically and morphologically in intricate ways. So from the Spencer 1991, the suffixes in English, they are classified into two groups. One that is class 1 suffixes and class 2 suffixes based on two criteria. The first criteria is based on their source of origin. The class 1 suffixes mainly or belong to Latin origin, and the class 2 suffixes, they are mainly mostly of Germanic. And the class 1 suffixes, as looking at phonological and semantic features, class 1 suffixes, they are generally attached to bound root, and they are less transparent and less productive as compared to class 2 suffixes. But this model was further replaced by FEB in the year 1988, which is based on individual selectional restriction, and it is divided into four groups. In group 1, suffixes that do not attach to already suffixed word. That is, he found out 28 out of 43. And group 2, suffixes that attach outside one other suffix. And group 3, suffixes that attach freely. And the fourth group is the problematic suffixes, which are difficult to define and identify. And later, however, in the year 1996 and 1999, Plague claims that it is not sufficient criteria to classify the suffix, because the phonological, morphological, semantic, and syntactic property must be stated, as these properties are responsible for possible and impossible combination. Hence, Chelia, in the year 1997, she divides Manipuri or Meeteilon suffixes into three levels of classification: first level classification, second level classification, and third level classification based on the proximity or nearness from the root. In the first level of classifications, suffixes which belong to destructive and directional markers come under first levels of suffixes. In second levels of derivational suffixes which shows commutative, causative, mood, excessive, and reflexive, they are come under second levels of derivation. And in the third level of derivation, aspects and mood markers come under. But based on the criteria following the Plague classification, we classify Meeteilon suffixes based on phonological and semantic parameter. Phonologically, it is divided into vowel ending and consonant ending suffixes. And for the case of vowel ending suffixes, three patterns have been observed. That is V, CV, and CVV. For the case of V, it is very limited or very few in number. For example, in the word like thug o, thug is the verb root and o is the suffix which indicate command or imperative marker. And next is the CV pattern, which mostly indicate aspect markers, negative and nominalizers and so on. And for the case of CVV pattern, suffixes comes under which so indicate destructive markers. For example, chi and collectivity. These are come under come under CVV pattern. And for the case of this consonant and these suffixes, two patterns have been observed. One is CVC. CVC pattern is mostly found in Manipuri or Meeteilon. For example, like directional marker, sin, jin, tin, excessive marker, man, causative, commutative, dietic, and so on. For the case of VC, is observed as, for example, it took me, that is, he drank and left. And semantically, they are divided into suffixes which are inflected for aspect, adverbial, mood, negative, and applicatives. And under applicative include directional, causative, dietic, etc., since they are involved in valence increasing category. And next is the form of conjugations. Conjugation in Meeteilon is mainly determined by means of inflections. In the year 2015, Coffey, he claimed that to conjugate a verb, it is to provide 6 pieces of information about the verb, namely person, number, voice, tense, aspect, and mood. But for the case of Manipuri verbs are not inflected for person, number, voice, gender, since it is only inflected for aspect, negative, imperative, verbal, noun, adjective, and adverb. So looking at these features, I have divided we have divided these suffixes into 6 categories, and their conjugations are shown in the table. But in the case of aspect, this feature, for example, like chai, cha plus e aspect marker, it becomes chai. That is the function. In the function, it is verb root plus simple aspect. And for the case of chari, it indicates progressive marker, and chare, it indicates perfective marker, that is the completed action. Chagani, it means unrealized aspect, and charo, it is unrealized negative aspect. And for the case of negative, these structures have been observed. For example, cha de, verb root plus simple negative. Chaganu, verb root plus prohibitive, that is do not eat. Chahan ganu, verb root plus causative plus prohibitive negative, do not make one to eat. Chahan loy means verb root plus causative plus unrealized negatives, won't allow to eat. Chaning de means verb root plus mood plus simple negative, do not want to eat. Chabi ganu means verb root plus honorific marker plus prohibitive negative, please do not eat. For in such ways we have made these conjugations of verb in this manner. In the case for the case of imperative, chahan lu, that is verb root plus causative plus imperative. Chahan ningu, that is verb root plus causative plus mood plus imperative, that is make him want to eat. Charo means verb root plus imperative, eat now. And verbal noun, for the case of verbal noun, only one structure is for observed, that is verb root plus nominalizer, chaba, it can eat or eating. For the case of adjective, one prefix has to come up before the verb root. Achaba, that is attributive prefix plus verb root plus nominalizers, one who has eaten. Chadaba, verb root plus morphologicalized negative plus nominalizer. In this case, the negative marker te or de changes into vowel change has been occurred in this case. It has been morphologicalized. And churning the verb root plus mood plus morphologicalized negative plus nominative, that is one who is not hungry. And adverb chana, that is verb root plus adverbials, while eating. So according to Bybee, in the year 1985, the causative is the most common valence changing category in a worldwide sample of 50 languages. For the case of Meeteilon, causative can be combined with different suffixes such as directional, mood, negative, aspect, etc., and different environment. And this directional marker, causative marker, and mood suffix, these three are most important suffixes which are responsible for the extensions of suffix string. Since Manipuri is a highly agglutinating language, the string of suffixes can be concatenated to the verb root. Moreover, imperative, mood, causative, and negative come under applicative categories as they are involved in increasing the valency or increasing the number of argument. So the conjugation tables will be helpful in the identification of suffix pattern in Meeteilon verb morphology. This paper is also part of my research works. So I have procured some data from TDIL. From that data, more than these 14 lakhs tokens have been found, and among that 14 lakhs tokens, it has been converted into unique word. From that unique word, only that comes under 2 lakhs words. And for the only for the case of verb root cha alone, more than 300 patterns have been observed as shown in the figure below, which has been taken as a snapshot. So from this figure, it has been observed that pattern of suffix is cannot be easily identified, because the reasons being that Manipuri is a very highly agglutinating language where number of argument can be increased or decreased according to different environment. And Meeteilon or Manipuri, it has consists of only two distinct lexical categories. One is noun and the verb, and the other is the verb. The other lexical categories such as adverb as shown in the above table, for example, negative, this imperative, this adverb, these are all derived from the verb by means of affixations. So leading to the increasing and decreasing of valency. So valency is nothing but the number of arguments which are mainly inflected to the verbs. So there can be two types of valency. One is a valence increasing category, and the other is valence decreasing category. So I first start from the valence decreasing category. So valence decreasing category, it can be further divided into two types. One is argument removing category or the patience removing category. So for the case of Manipuri, reflexive marker is a common source for balance decreasing category. So in the example like Tomba Masana Sujay. So Tomba is the subject, and Masa, it means he, self. Na, it's the nominative marker. Su means was. Ja is the reflexive marker. E is the aspect marker. It means Tomba washes his clothes. So the subject is, the object is understood because of the presence of reflexive ja, since the verb is transitive and it always carries the object. And another case of this balance decreasing category comes the reciprocal suffix. In the example as shown below, Makoi Pune. That is, they fight with each other because of the presence of this reciprocal marker na. It is assumed that someone or some peoples are involved in the fighting. So in the case of balance increasing categories, it is nothing but verb has to be supplied with some applicative formation. It could be direct object, indirect object. So what are the things that are included under the applicative? Again, it could be benefactive. In the case of Manipuri, we have this marker, gi versus ki, according to different environment, goal, directive, instrumental, and commutative. In the example like, ay magi mating pangbigani, I will help him out. So the table below describe the suffixes based on their valency. So these are the balance increasing and balance decreasing categories. So gi and ki come under balance increasing category. Mood also comes under balance increasing category. Instrumental also comes under balance increasing category. Commutative comes under balance increasing category. This reflexive and reciprocals comes under balance decreasing category. Causative, directional, and diacritics comes under balance increasing categories, and so on. And next feature is the agglutinating patterns of Meeteilon. The agglutinating pattern in Meeteilon is very simple and straightforward in some sense, but it follows some sort of hierarchy. This hierarchy, we cannot break this hierarchy. Once it is broken, the meaning is different or not grammatical in our language. For instance, habitual aspect marker, mood should always precede habitual aspect marker. For example, a word like Chaninggali, we cannot say like Chaganingli. It is not acceptable in our language. So mood should always comes before the habitual marker. And the other conditions, like directional markers should also precede the honorific marker, say like Thakchin Biu, like please drink any water, milk or tea, like. So B is the benefictive marker, so it should always precede the honorific marker U. So, concluding this paper, I would like to say that the suffix pattern in Meeteilon is difficult to be defined since the combination pattern is somewhat flexible and except for some exception. But it seems to follow the second order of scope hypothesis suggested by Rice in the year 2006, which stated that element in a fixed scopal relationship occur in a fixed order with respect to each other. And in the second, it is that elements in which the scopal relationship can be reversed occur in variable order with interpretation related to order. And elements that do not enter into a scopal relationship with each other may occur in different order, both within a particular language and across the family. So it can be illustrated with the following example. The combination of causative and mood. First one, causative precede the mood marker, and in the next example, mood suffix precede the causative marker. The only difference between is that in the first example, the focus is mainly based on the subject, and in the second sentence, the focus lies on the object. But both this combination is acceptable in our language. So, since the Manipuri is a very agglutinating language, suffix ordering, determination of suffix ordering is somewhat, I feel, also faces some kind of problem. But for the case of three-syllabic word, I made this these figures like after verbal root, now this the aspect, mood, negative, imperative, intensive, suggestive, consensive, adverbial, directional, all these as suffix can be follow after the verb root and then followed by the nominalizers. So the structure is somewhat like this. So in the conclusion sections, I would like to say that Manipuri verb cannot be studied on the lexeme base as found in the English. And the role of semantic is very significant in the conjugation of verb, mainly in the verb stems. And it is because of the intense balance increasing property, a string of suffixes can be concatenated to the verb root, creating hurdle in the identification of suffix pattern. And the suffix patterns in the valence increasing category has been already discussed. But it is not flexible for valence decreasing category. But for the valence increasing category, it is somewhat flexible, but for not flexible for valence decreasing category. So these are the abbreviation which I use while making this paper. And these are the references.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, can you tell? Now the paper is open for discussion or comments or anything else. I can see that Dr. Amom Nandaraj.
Yeah. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. I have a small thing to make suggestion. So as you spell out, B is actually benefactive, of course, applicative. It comes under the category of applicative. But what I can suggest, of course, recently actually we had done something on the benefactive construction also. But sometimes this B marker seems to be little bit homophonous with the honorific marker also. So I mean the aspect is actually deciding. The following aspect is deciding whether this B can be used as a benefactive or as an honorific marker. Say when I say Sabi you, So in the case of imperative, the be seems to function as a, say honoricity. When I say sabige, then
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
in that case, it's functioning just like a benefictive. For the sake of him, I will speak. So I magi the wangang bige. So
Yes,
I
sir.
will speak in that case. And somewhere in your presentation, I think the key or gi were used as a benefictive also. You could check it once more. In fact, I found it. Sometimes you were using it key as a benefiting marker also. Thank you. I'm just suggesting this thing.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Arum. Now I see that Lalit Rajkumar, he has something to say. Please.
Yes. Hi. Hello, Kenny. I'm Lalit from
Yes, sir.
Manipur
Thank you.
University. Hi.
Yes.
Kenny, can we go back to the slide where you are talking about the valency decreasing verb while using the reflexive marker?
In the example or in the table, sir?
In the example, that, yeah, this one. So I don't find this very convincing because here you have uh, thought or you must have assumed that the verb su goes along only with the act of washing clothes. I don't think that's the case. So can I give you some example where it
Because
can be?
sir, that this in the example now we don't need to mention clothes because in the verb itself, this su is a transitive verb. It already this
Yes,
capture
yes.
the verb is the object is already hidden inside the verb itself. So
So I think you are going along the line of the cognate object. So for this verb su, I think it goes along not just with washing clothes, but it also goes along with
yeah, the verb also doing.
doing work,
Yeah,
right? Tabak
yes, sir.
ma tomba masana tabak suzay. Then
Yes.
how can that then this translation will be incorrect for that particular example, right?
Okay,
So
sir. Yeah.
I don't totally agree with this example.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Before su, so somewhat like he, suzai,
Okay.
Yes.
some noun has to be involved. In fact.
Yes. So then your proposal of this being a valency decreasing uh, suffix, it doesn't materialize. Another thing, yeah, and maybe it's because I joined in a little bit late by few minutes. Did you consider the transitivity alternation pairs verbs which goes along with transitivity alternation?
Sorry, sir. In this paper, I don't go under that level, sir.
Okay.
I see that Professor Subbarao has raised his hand.
Okay, it's a good paper,
Uh,
but what I would like to suggest is you have given such a big introduction. In 20
okay,
minutes,
sir.
I think you have spent about 10 minutes on the introduction,
Okay.
which I think is not needed for many people
Okay, sir.
because that's not relevant to your topic. What is your topic? Balance increasing, balance decreasing.
But
Okay.
since there,
Positive is a balance increasing particle. Verbal reflexive, you say, is a balance decreasing particle. Let us
okay.
just take this example.
Mm,
Tomba washed his clothes. As Lalit just now said, it
mm,
has a cognitive, it's a cognitive predicate.
mm,
So in Hindi, if I say मैं खाना खा रहा हूँ, or if we say खा रहा हूँ, it doesn't mean that there is any decrease in the valency. These are called prodrop cases, which have been extensively discussed. You are confusing prodrop
mm,
cases with valence decrease. For example, reflexive in Manipuri or Methi is
mm,
optional. So let's take this sentence. Tomba, tomba na, of course, na you did not use, but that's optional. Tomba na, masana, masana, suja, sujay. So that ja can be dropped. Then what happens to the valence decrease? If it is really a valence decrease particle, yes, I agree. Reflexives are valence decreasing in many languages, in Greek, in Russian, and in
yes.
Dravidian languages, in Mahar, Mizo, in all these languages. But here in this example, you cannot use this as a valence decrease particle. What all, as far as to the best of my knowledge of Meitei goes, the valence decreasing particle would be like in Mizo, I close the door. Okay, transitive.
Okay,
Then
sir.
the door closed. Then the verbal reflexive occurs or Dravidian, Telugu.
Mm,
The valence decreasing particle, the cone comes. That's a reflexive. That is what we call a valence decreasing particle. I don't think you can call this as a valence decreasing particle. You have completely omitted the prodrop concept and you have not taken prodrop into consideration. You know about prodrop, I guess?
Okay, sir.
Okay. And several other things are there. Maybe we can talk about it later because I don't know how much time you have. We have.
Thank you for your suggestion, sir.
So maybe you can be in contact and we can discuss. Yeah. Even reciprocals are also not prodrop. Here, reciprocal, they fight with each other. Can I put with each other there?
No, sir.
No, you cannot.
You can say in another sense, but in order to make this in the valence decreasing pattern.
No. Valence decreasing is...
Makoi masen.
Yes, Makoi Masen. Yes.
Yeah.
Then how is it a valence decreasing particle? If I can use Makoi Masen, it's not a valence decreasing particle at all. Right? So what you have done is, in many languages of the world, the verbal reflexive and verbal reciprocal are valence decreasing. You have applied that to Manipuri or Meitei, where there is no evidence for valence. You have to have something like the door closed. I closed the door opened. I opened the door. The water boiled. I boiled the water. There you can say there is a valence decrease if the verbal reflexive occurs with the intransitive verb and the transitive verb does not accept. The transitive verb, like, I opened the door. There is no verbal reflexive. But the door opened. Yes, there is a verbal reflexive. That is treated as a valence decreasing particle. Okay, there are many other things, but I don't think there is time for that. But you have to take into consideration these things before you make any strong conclusions about valence. Yes, causatives are valence increasing.
Yes.
And you have to find out what other valence increasing and decreasing particles there are in your language. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Rao.